What is good, all you Dolphins fans out there? Hope you're all having a great day. So, after the Dolphins trades this past weekend, trading back with the Niners for the 12th pick in exchange for the 3rd overall pick, and then 10 minutes later, trading back to the top 10 with the Eagles for pick 6, it was pretty obvious to me, and I'm sure most of you guys at the Dolphins have a few players in mind that they couldn't let slip away in the top 10 of the draft, and that would most likely be an elite pass catcher to elevate the offense and help Tua's progression in year 2. So, when looking at the first 5 teams picking ahead of the Dolphins in the draft, there's a very good chance an elite skill player will be available when the Dolphins pick at 6 overall in about 30 days at the end of the month. When looking at the Jaguars at the first overall pick, I think it's pretty obvious they're going to take Trevor Lawrence. You could see at his pro day the way Urban Meyer was watching him right there on the field. He wanted to get a look at his future quarterback, wanted to see how he operated, and I think that's a done deal. Trevor Lawrence to the Jags. At this point, I think it's signed, sealed, and delivered. Now, number 2 with the Jets, you never know what could happen here. They could stick with Sam Darnold. They could take Zach Wilson, which I think is probably going to happen. I think after Zach Wilson's pro day, it's pretty obvious his arm is just off the charts. The way he operates in the pocket, the way he can roll out and just throw balls on a dime. I mean, he looks very similar to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, just the way he can spin the ball, the power and the velocity, just the way the ball comes off his hand. I think the Jets most likely are going to take Wilson with the 2nd overall pick, and they're probably going to trade Sam Darnold for like a 3rd round pick or something like that. I think that, Darnold's going to get traded during the draft. Now, with the 3rd overall pick, which the Niners acquired from the Dolphins, I think there's 3 quarterbacks they're probably going to be targeting here. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. I think there's 3 guys that got their eye on here, but for my money, I think the guy that would make the most sense is probably Justin Fields. He's got a history with Kyle Shanahan. I think he went to one of his camps, like a QB camp or something like that, so apparently they're on a first name basis, so we'll see if that connection comes to fruition on draft day. Trey Lance, I think would be perfect for Kyle Shanahan. Just what he can do athletically and the way he operates. He's very accurate. He makes great decisions. He had no interceptions in his lone year starting at North Dakota State. And I just think what he can bring to the field outside of the pocket and in the pocket would be a dream for Kyle Shanahan to scheme up plays for. And the guy I'm sure you guys are hearing a lot about for the Niners at pick 3 is Mac Jones. And in my opinion, I think it'd be a huge mistake. I think that Mac Jones just doesn't do anything at an elite level. He's only started 17 games, and just the kind of team he operated in at Alabama was absolutely perfect. He had tremendous weapons, elite weapons, Devonta Smith, Jaylen Waddle this year and last year, just Henry Ruggs and those guys, all 1st round picks. You could say the same thing about Tua, but with Tua, a couple of things were obvious. He's very accurate. He can throw the ball to all 3 levels of the field, which Mac Jones can as well. But yeah, just Tua, the way he can operate in the quick game and the way he can get the ball to his weapons was just pretty elite at Alabama. But yeah, I think it'd be a mistake taking Mac Jones. Even though they're saying he's super intelligent and the way he can pick up an offense is just truly elite. Apparently he was teaching the offense to Bill O'Brien when he was brought on at the Alabama staff. But yeah, I think for the Niners, that would be a huge mistake. They should take either Trey Lance or Justin Fields to be the future QB and maybe learn behind Jimmy G. And yeah, we'll just see how that goes. Onto the Falcons, I could see them taking a quarterback as well. A guy to learn behind Matt Ryan. I think that would make the most sense. I mean, who else are they going to take it for? Penei Sewell, I mean, what's that going to do for the franchise moving forward? Even though, he would provide great protection, one of the best defensive tackles in this draft, it wouldn't make sense. The Falcons really here are going to take a Trey Lance or Justin Fields, and they'd just be perfect quarterbacks behind Matt Ryan to learn for 1 or 2 years and just get ready to take over at quarterback. Onto the Bengals. For a long time, we've been thinking the Bengals are probably going to target Penei Sewell here at 5. Joe Burrow was just absolutely beat up last year. The beating he was taking week after week, it was just a matter of time before, his body broke down, and that's what happened, what week was it? Week 11 or something like that, week 12 or week 10. But yeah, Joe Burrow's knee just got absolutely obliterated, and that was because he was just getting absolutely beat up from week 1. And, Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater would make sense for them here. But lately, there is some chatter out there that Joe Burrow, has been campaigning for the Bengals to take Ja'Marr Chase at number 5 overall, which I think would make sense as well because the kind of season they had together in 2019, Ja'Marr Chase had over 20 tackles with Joe Burrow throwing him the ball. Obviously, it would make sense, to get back together in Cincinnati, but, for the Bengals, they really should take one of the top offensive linemen here if they want Joe Burrow to have a successful career in Cincinnati. So that leaves us with the 6th overall pick for the Dolphins. Most of the quarterbacks will be off the board here. And obviously, there's only a couple of players that are worthy of selecting here at pick 6. It's Ja'Marr Chase, like I just mentioned, from LSU, Jaylen Waddle from Alabama, Kyle Pitts, the tight end from Florida, Devonta Smith, another receiver from Alabama, and Penei Sewell, which I think would be highly unlikely. After trading back into the top 10, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be doing that for an offensive lineman. If we wanted a tackle, we could take one at 18 or 36 or 50. For me, it just really wouldn't make sense to move up this high back to pick 6 and giving up a first-round pick to the Eagles. We're obviously targeting, a Ja'Marr Chase who, in my opinion, like I've said in many videos, best receiver in this draft class, and he would just give us everything that you want from a receiver and possibly your number 1 receiver. Jaylen Waddle, just top-notch speed. He's got 4.2 speed for sure, which I think he definitely has because he has raced Henry Ruggs in the past, and those guys were both neck and neck, and Henry Ruggs ran a 4.2 weight, so I'm sure Jaylen Waddle could bring that kind of juice in the NFL. But I think that Jaylen Waddle is a guy that can just really open up an offense. The way he can catch passes in the short game and just turn those kind of catches into 10, 15, 20-yard gains, he can do that consistently, and he can get open over the top. We saw that numerous times at Alabama. He absolutely dominated when he was on the field for the Crimson Tide. Jaylen Waddle, I would love for the Dolphins to take him here at 6, and I think that, he would just be an electrifying and just elite talent in this offense. And could you imagine Will Fuller and Jaylen Waddle in the same offense? That kind of speed would just absolutely keep defensive coordinators up at night. It would force defenses to be on their P's and Q's each and every Sunday, Monday or Thursday, and would just, stress the hell out of defenses' ability to, guard that kind of speed. And Kyle Pitts, the last week or so, there was chatter that we should take him possibly at 3, but I think Kyle Pitts would make sense at 6. We saw at his pro day, he ran a 4.46, so I think you easily could play him at receiver. He's just truly elite at the position. Even though we've got Mike Gesicki, I think a talent like Kyle Pitts can only elevate your offense. I think that he's got a chance to be Darren Waller in the NFL. The Raiders tight end. He's got similar speed, same size, same kind of ball skills. Kyle Pitts, I think you could play him all over an offense. And he also can play with his hand in the dirt a couple of times a game. He's definitely a much better blocker than Gesicki. But yeah, Pitts is a kind of elite pass catcher that would make sense at 6. But really, in my opinion, I'd rather take a receiver. But I really wouldn't be mad at all taking Pitts 6th overall. And Devonta Smith, he's been connected to the Dolphins for a long time now. I mean, there was chatter, a couple of months ago that we should take him at 3rd overall. But, that kind of noise definitely has died down. Taking a 170-pound receiver at 3rd overall just wouldn't make sense. I think the only receiver that would make sense at 3 is Ja'Marr Chase. And, there's a good chance here that we could get him at 6. But yeah, Devonta, I think he's a mix of a Amari Cooper and a Calvin Ridley, 2 ex-Alabama receivers, and I think he's got the same ability to get open and just the same ability to make things happen after the catch. Devonta Smith at 6. I'm sure it isn't the guy that we're targeting here, but you never know. We'll see how the board's going to fall on draft day, and Devonta could very well be the guy the Dolphins are targeting at 6, but yeah, I think that I'd rather have like a Waddle or Chase there at 6. So, in all honesty, there's 3 guys the Dolphins are probably targeting here. It's Ja'Marr Chase, Jaylen Waddle, and Kyle Pitts. And possibly Devonta Smith. I think that, he's a distant 4th option. But I think that if they came away with either one of Ja'Marr Chase, Jaylen Waddle, and Kyle Pitts, I think they'd be absolutely ecstatic. And I'm sure most Dolphins fans will. Those guys can do everything at an elite level on the football field. They tick all the boxes you want from a player taking in the top 10. And yeah, they would just open up this offense and give Tua an elite weapon to, help him to progress in year 2. And like I said about Penei Sewell, I don't think there's any chance they would have traded back to the top 10, pick 6, to take a tackle. So I think the Penei Sewell is well and truly dead at this point. Even though he would be an awesome addition to this offensive line, could you imagine the kind of havoc an offensive line with Sewell could create? But yeah, I don't think there's any chance we're going to take him at 6. And lastly here, the least likely scenario is taking a quarterback at 6. If we wanted to take a quarterback, we would have stayed at 3 and shocked the world and taken a quarterback in back-to-back years, top 5. I definitely am a fan of Trey Lance and Justin Fields, but I think the Dolphins' moves over the last week point to Tua being our guy for the time being and for the future. We'll see how he's going to perform in year 2, but yeah. Moving back to 12 and then moving up to 6 wouldn't make any sense at all if we want to take a quarterback this year. And just lastly here, I want to go over the Dolphins' options with their other first round pick, the 18th overall pick. Just want to go over all the possible options at this point in the pre-draft process. And let's start here at running back. So I think in reality, there's 3 options here for the Dolphins at running back at pick 18. You could say it's a little early for Najee Harris or a Javonte Williams or even Travis Etienne. But I'm definitely huge fans of Najee Harris and Javonte Williams. I think that a player like Najee Harris can transform your offense. He can just bring unbelievable juice to that side of the ball. Najee Harris would love to reunite him with Tua. And Javonte Williams, he had his pro day today. He ran like a 4.58 or 4.56, something like that. But that's more than fast enough for a player like him. He's an absolute Mack truck running behind that offensive line, taking out defenders anywhere on the field. He had the most missed tackles in college football last year. So Javonte Williams, you could say it's a little early at pick 18, but I think there are a number of teams picking at 20 to 32 that are probably going to be drafting him because, yeah, I think he's going to be a Nick Chubb in the NFL. And lastly, Travis Etienne, great speed. He's an electric playmaker, and he could be an option for the Dolphins at pick 18, but in my opinion, I'm not a huge fan. I just don't like his ability to break tackles. Because if you're going to take a running back at pick 18, you want them to be able to do anything. You want them to be able to break tackles and pick up extra yardage, and I just don't think that Travis Etienne does that consistently enough. Don't get me wrong, he's got amazing speed. He's a home run threat anytime he touches the ball, but I'd rather have a Najee Harris and Javonte because they can do all the dirty work in between. So, on to wide receiver. If we possibly want to take 2 receivers in the first round, which I think is highly unlikely with our other needs that we've got out there, but Rashad Bateman from Minnesota would be an option at pick 18. Terrace Marshall Jr. from LSU, another electric talent that could be an option, but I think he's probably going to go, late first round to early second round. On to tight end. I don't think there's any tight ends that are worthy of pick 18, so let's move it on to offensive tackle. So if we were to skip out on taking a tackle at 6, which I think is very likely, pick 18, a Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech could be there. Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. Rashawn Slater could be there, but I think he's definitely going to go possibly top 10 and easily top 15. So I think that's it for tackles that could be available at 18. Interior offensive linemen, centers and guards at this point, and I don't think it's going to change in a month. There's no guards or centers that are worthy of the 18th overall selection. Defensive tackle, same as the interior offensive line. I think there's any guys that would make sense for us at 18. So let's move it on to edge rusher. And there's definitely 3 guys that I think could be very possible for the Dolphins here. Kwity Paye from Michigan. He had his pro day like 3-4 days ago, and that guy is just an absolutely rocked up machine. 6'2", 260 pounds. I think he definitely fits the mold for what the Dolphins are looking for from the edge rushers. I think there's a very real option that Kwity Paye could be the pick here. I think that Brian Flores probably loves a player like Kwity Paye. Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. He's a guy that's a lot more versatile because he can either play on the edge or he can even play as an off-ball linebacker or possibly even an interior linebacker. He's got that kind of athleticism, but yeah, he brings great juice off the edge, and what he can do on defense would probably fit in very well to this versatile defense that Flores likes to run. And also Jalen Phillips from Miami. I think he had a great pro day today. He ran a 4.55. All his other testing numbers were off the charts and just fit the bill for a first round edge rusher. Jalen Phillips, I think he's a very real option for the Dolphins at 18 as well. So on to linebacker, Jeremiah Wussey, Korramowa. I think that this is perfect value to pick up a linebacker like Wussey Korramowa here at 18. He's just an explosive freak of a linebacker. And yeah, like I've said in the past, he would fit in perfectly to this defense because he can play safety or linebacker. Cornerback, I can't see any corners that would make sense here. All the top corners like Patrick Surtain and JC Horn and Greg Newsome, those guys are definitely going to be gone before 18. So, yeah, I don't think the Dolphins are in the market at all to take a corner at 18. Just wouldn't make sense. We got Xavier, we got Byron Jones, we took Noah Igbenogany last year. Yeah, there's no point taking a corner at 18. And lastly here, safety. The only safety that would make sense and is being touted as a first round safety is Trayvon Moehrig from TCU. And in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of his game. I mean, he's got great range. He's an explosive athlete. He's pretty good at disrupting the ball when it's in the air, but I just don't like his physicality at safety. As a free safety, you need to be able to come downhill and be the last line of defense. And Trayvon Moehrig, more times than not, missed way too many tackles in the open field and just gave up chunk plays. I'm just not a fan of his game. A lot of people are, but yeah, not for me. All the other quality safeties are definitely going to go in round 2, 3, 4. So yeah, no other options there at safety. So that's it for this video, guys. Just going over, possible scenarios for the Dolphins at pick 6. We've got a very real chance here to just pick up an elite receiver or possibly, a Kyle Pitts at pick 6. A guy that's going to be, a featured piece of an offense for many years to come, and a guy that can just be a go-to target for many seasons to come as well. So let me know in the comments section who you want the Dolphins to take at pick 6, who you want them to take at pick 18, and just who you would love to see on the Dolphins in 2021. Alrighty guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, if you've been liking the content, and as always, it's fins up, baby. Cheers guys.